Okay, here we go. So earlier this week, we got a report from Jeff Passan saying the White Sox are basically open for business. Anyone that breeds is up for grabs, including Garrett Crochet, who I did a video on. Make sure you go check that out. And Luis Robert. We also got a little something here from John Heyman saying that the White Sox are actively seeking packages for Robert. So we know the deal with the White Sox. They stink. They're in rebuild mode. And with Luis Robert, you could make the argument that they should hang on to him. He's their superstar player. That's the guy that they could build around for the next several years. But if the White Sox are going to be a few years away from contending, then it might be worth it to look into trading Luis Robert, see what kind of prospects you can get back in return. And we all know the deal with Luis Robert. This guy, when healthy, is very good. He's missed a lot of time this year with a hip injury, but he's back now and he looks okay. As of right now, he has a .523 slugging. Batting average in the on base is still a little low, but he's only played 11 games. Last year, he had an amazing season. His first season where he played more than 140 games. Overall, 145 games, had a .264 average, a .315 on base, a .542 slugging, 38 homers, 20 stolen bases. In my opinion, Luis Robert is a game-changing kind of a player. He would be amazing for a lot of playoff contending teams. So in this video, I came up with 7 different trades, but before I get to those trades, let's go over his trade value first. So as of right now on baseballtradevalues.com, his median value is $36.4 million. It could go as low as around $29 million or as high as around $44 million. Now, this would be a lot higher if you didn't have the track record of all the injuries, but this is still pretty expensive. You're going to have to give up at least one top 100 prospect, maybe even 2, and maybe even another prospect or 2 on top of that. Now, why is his value this high? Well, we all know Luis Robert, when he's healthy, he's very good, but he also has a very team-friendly contract. He's on a 6-year, $50 million deal that's up after next season, but there's also a couple of club options on top of that, and he is still pretty young, 26 years old. So, yeah, it's going to cost the team a little something to get Luis Robert, so let's get to the trades. Let's start off with what seems to be a popular destination in mock trades for Luis Robert, and that's the Seattle Mariners. They're off to a pretty good start this year, 36-29 as of right now, playing good baseball lately, 7-3 in their last 10, but they could use some offense here. If we take a look at the slugging percentage leaderboards, the Mariners are only 25th overall this year, and when it comes to offensive production in the outfield, they're only 23rd overall, and that includes Julio Rodriguez. So Luis Robert would definitely give this team another bat that can help them down the stretch. So the trade that I have is Luis Robert going to the Mariners, back to the White Sox. We got Cole Emerson, Lazaro Montes, and Emerson Hancock. Now, Cole Emerson is the number 3 prospect, and Lazaro Montes is the number 4 prospect in their system as of right now. Both are in the top 100. Cole Emerson, this would be a solid middle infielder for the White Sox to add. He could go alongside Colson Montgomery down the road. This guy has amazing plate discipline. The on-base percentage numbers are fantastic so far in the minor leagues. Plays solid defense. Just a good all-around player for the White Sox to add. And Lazaro Montes, this guy has been mashing in the minor leagues so far. Still pretty far away, but my goodness, this guy's been tearing it up. He has a .997 OPS in the first couple of years in the minors so far. This would be a great bat for the White Sox to add. And I also have Emerson Hancock. He was their first round pick back in 2020. Still trying to figure things out, but I think this would be a solid arm for the White Sox to add. He's had a few starts in the major leagues this year so far. Numbers don't look all that great, but having a pretty good year in the minors so far at AAA, a 2.17 ERA, throws a lot of strikes, doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. So I think this would be a solid picture for the White Sox to add. But overall, I think the Mariners would love to have an impact bat like Luis Robert. How about Luis Robert to the Philadelphia Phillies? The Phillies are one of the best teams in baseball this year. They got a record of 44-19, leading the National League East by 8 games, but they could use a bit of a boost in center field. As of right now, when it comes to the offensive production in center field, they're only 27th overall. Johan Rojas, I love the glove, I love the speed, but he's not doing all that much with the bat. Only hitting .234, on base at .273, slugging at .299. Luis Robert would definitely be an upgrade offensively here, and he would still give you some good defense out in center field. So the deal that I have is Luis Robert going to the Phillies, back to the White Sox. We got Justin Crawford, Starlin Caba, and Eduardo Tate. So Justin Crawford, Starlin Caba, those are both top 100 prospects. Crawford number 4 in their system, Caba at number 5 in their system. Crawford, this could be your future center fielder, just like his dad. Contact-oriented bat, very athletic, very fast. This would be an awesome addition for the White Sox. He's getting closer to being major league ready, probably a couple of years away. And Starlin Caba, international signing not too long ago. This could be your future shortstop. Very contact-oriented bat, 55 hit tool compared to the 40 power, but very athletic like Crawford as well. Has a 60 run, good arm. Like I said, could be your future shortstop. And I also have Eduardo Tate in this deal. I know the White Sox, they have Edgar Quero. That's going to be their next catcher. But Eduardo Tate, he is very far away, very young, 17 years old still. This could be a catcher for way down the road, possibly. Has a really good arm, has a 60 arm. So who knows? Maybe he could develop into something, but doesn't hurt to have some good quality catchers in your system. If not him, maybe you could swap him out for, someone else, maybe a couple other guys in here. Maybe you could even swap out, either Crawford or Caba. Maybe you could put someone like Mick Abel. This is a guy, highly projectable arm, good frame, good stuff, but he walks a lot of guys. So, maybe the Phillies could move on, from him if that meant it could get them like a star like Luis Robert. Who knows? But either way, I think the Phillies have enough pieces to be able to get a deal done for Robert. Could you imagine this lineup with Luis Robert in it? With Bryce Harper, Trey Turner coming back eventually, Schwarber, Alec Boehm having a good year, Castellanos. I mean, my goodness, this lineup would be ridiculous with Luis Robert in it. It would be pretty fun, if you ask me. When it comes to trades, you can never count out the LA Dodgers. They got prospects for days. I do think they should go after a shortstop instead. That way they can move Mookie back out to right field. But if they went this route, not that bad either. Now, Bob Nightingale did say recently the Dodgers will be looking for some offensive help to aid the bottom of their lineup, which has been one of the worst in baseball. Now, we know this lineup has Mookie, Shohei, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith. They've been solid. Max Muncy is hurt right now, but we know what Max Muncy can do. He brings a lot of power to the lineup. But the bottom of the order, Gavin Lux has really struggled this year. James Outman got sent back down to the minor leagues. If you put Luis Robert in the middle of this order, shifts everyone down. That is a very deep lineup. My goodness, that would be ridiculous with him there. Now, the trade that I have put together is Luis Robert going to the Dodgers, back to the White Sox. We got Josue DePaula, Kyle Hurt, and Maddox Bruns. Leading the way here is DePaula, is a top 100 prospect. This guy could have a very special bat down the road. Very advanced approach at the plate already. Has a 60 hit tool and already has a little bit of power, but he's 6'3" and he's only 19 years old. He's only going to grow into that frame more. And this guy is already mashing in the minor leagues. He could be a very special bat down the road for the White Sox. Get a couple of pitching prospects in here as well. Kyle Hurt has been dealing with some shoulder stuff this year, but on a rehab assignment right now. This guy could end up being really good. Could be a middle of the rotation guy, has some good stuff, a good assortment of pitches. I think Kyle Hurt would be a good addition for the White Sox down the road. Just taking a look at his grades, he's got a 65 fastball, very good velocity, has a 60 changeup to go along with it, 55 on the slider. Needs to throw a bit more strikes. Right now only has a 45 for the control. But again, good stuff. This would be a good addition for the White Sox. And then we also have Maddox Bruns. He was a first-round pick not too long ago. He's putting up some good numbers in the minor leagues this year so far. He's got 3+ pitches, a 60 fastball, curveball, and a slider. Again, just like with Kyle Hurt, needs to work on the control a little bit. Only has a 40 control. But again, just want to reiterate with the Dodgers, they got prospects for days. They have a lot of flexibility here. So if you didn't want to do Josue DePaula, maybe you could do Dalton Rushing instead. A catcher in their system currently blocked by Will Smith, who they just signed to a long-term extension not too long ago. Now, the White Sox do have Edgar Quero in their system, so maybe you could figure it out there who could be the catcher. But Dalton Rushing, he has flexibility. He could play first, third, a corner outfield spot, has a great arm. Either way, this could also be a very good prospect to add for the White Sox organization. And like the pitchers that I mentioned, they could easily swap these guys out. Again, the Dodgers have a lot of options here. They could definitely get a deal done if they wanted to. You know, I think the San Francisco Giants could be a fun fit for Luis Robert. Remember earlier in the year, they lost their center fielder, Jung-Hoo Lee, for the rest of the season. But when he comes back, can you imagine an outfield with Jung-Hoo Lee and Luis Robert? That would be pretty good, if you ask me. But after he went down, Luis Matos came up, took his place. He was pretty hot at first, but then he cooled off, ended up getting sent back down to the minor leagues. And also, Mike Yastrzemski has been pretty cold with the bat this year so far, only hitting .215, a .285 on base, a .380 slugging. So they could definitely use a bit of boost in offense in this outfield. And don't forget, Jorge Soler, they signed him in the offseason, and he's been kind of a bust so far, not doing all that much either. So maybe the Giants could use some offense here. So the trade that I have is Luis Robert going to the Giants, back to the White Sox. We got 3 prospects: Bryce Eldridge, Carson Whisenhunt, and Grant McCray. Eldridge does lead the way in terms of value. This is a pretty high draft pick not too long ago. This guy has been mashing in the minor leagues. A lot of power from the left side, has a 60 power tool. Last year had a really good season in the minors at .294 with a .905 OPS, doing okay so far this year as well. Carson Whisenhunt, this would be a pretty good lefty for the White Sox to add. Last year had a really good season, 16 starts, ERA at a 2.45. This year, his first year in AAA, still figuring some things out. ERA at a 5.47 through 13 starts, but this is a guy with a pretty good fastball, has a nasty changeup to go along with it. Does have a curveball, throws a decent amount of strikes, but either way, Carson Whisenhunt, that would be a pretty decent arm to add here. And then we got Grant McCray. This guy has power and speed, a 55 power tool and a 70 run tool, had over 50 stolen bases to go with 14 home runs last year. Pretty nice outfield prospect for the White Sox to add. But again, I think Luis Robert would be a fun fit for the San Francisco Giants. How about Luis Robert to the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers? Off to a bit of a slow start this year, 30-33 as of right now, 3 back in the wild card, but this team has a lot of talent. They're going to be getting Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer back soon. They could definitely go on a run, but their outfield needs a bit of a boost. As of right now, only 28th overall in offensive production in the outfield, and Leody Taveras in center field is just not getting it done with the bat, only hitting .230, on base at .302, slugging at a .353. Luis Robert would definitely be an upgrade. So the deal that I have is a 4-for-1. Luis Robert going to the Rangers, and back to the White Sox. We got Sebastian Walcott, Anthony Gutierrez, Emiliano Tejedo, and Jack Leiter. Now, breaking this down, Sebastian Walcott would be leading the way here, is a top 100 prospect. Gets a lot of comparisons to Jazz Chisholm. He's like a bigger Jazz Chisholm, a power speed threat, has a 60 power, has a 55 run, also has a great arm. Shortstop prospect as of right now, but he's 6'4". A lot of scouts think he could end up moving to third base at some point. So if you had a left side of the infield with Sebastian Walcott and Colson Montgomery, that would be amazing down the road. And then we got a few more prospects here. Anthony Gutierrez is their number 4 prospect. Good all-around player that you could add for your system. Then we got a pitching prospect in Emiliano Tejedo, number 14 overall. Guy has a nasty fastball slider combination, having a good year in the minors so far. 9 starts, a 2.06 ERA. Good pitching prospect to add. But I also have Jack Leiter in this deal. Number 2 pick back in 2021. Highly touted pitching prospect coming out of Vanderbilt. Went through some bumps in the minor leagues. Seemed like he got it figured out in the minors this year. Is having a pretty good year. Got called up, but has just not figured it out at the major league level. Sure, maybe just needs a little bit more time, but I mean, Jack Leiter, he has just been getting absolutely hammered at the major league level. I mean, maybe at this point, maybe just needs a change of scenery. Maybe just needs some new ears in his voices. Maybe the White Sox can figure something out with him. But my goodness, 3 starts, ERA at a 16.39. I mean, what the heck? That's a mouthful just saying that. FIP at an 8.39. Yeah, Leiter has really struggled. So maybe you could include him in this deal. You don't have to. At this point, you'd be basically selling low on him. But, if the Rangers feel like they can't figure anything out with him, maybe they can just include him in this deal. Either way, the Rangers, they do have a lot of pieces in this farm that they could definitely get a deal done for Luis Robert. How about Luis Robert to the St. Louis Cardinals? The Cardinals got off to a terrible start this year, but they've played better baseball as of late. Still 2 games under 500 at the time of this recording, but they are tied for a wild card spot as we speak. However, they need an upgrade in center field. When it comes to the offensive production in center field, they are dead last in Major League Baseball. They've been rolling with guys like Dylan Carlson, Michael Ciani, but these guys have done next to nothing with the bats. Luis Robert would definitely give them a nice bat for the middle of the order, especially with Nolan Arenado having a bit of a down year too. So that would be a welcome addition to the lineup. So the trade that I have is Luis Robert going to the Cardinals, back to the White Sox. We got Victor Scott, Thomas Ajacey, 2 top 100 prospects, Cooper Jerpy, Adam Kloffenstein as well. Now, Victor Scott would be leading the way in terms of value, number 3 prospect in their system as of right now. This guy is a very athletic center fielder of the future, has a 55 hit tool with an 80 run. Was with the Cardinals at the beginning of the year, ended up getting sent back down, but this guy has a lot of promise. Now, Thomas Ajacey, they got him last year in the Jordan Montgomery trade, so I'm not sure if they would be willing to, give him up after just getting him last year in a trade. So maybe you could swap him out, put someone else in this deal. But Thomas Ajacey would be an awesome bat for the White Sox to get. Has a 55 hit with the 55 power. Had a great year in the minor leagues last year. Hit 306 with a 904 OPS. Still figuring it out at the AAA level, but this would be a nice addition for the White Sox, along with Cooper Jerpy. Cooper Jerpy, he's gotten comparisons to Chris Sale. I'm just saying, Chris Sale used to be with the White Sox, so that would be pretty cool. But Cooper Jerpy, this would be a pretty solid addition, having a good year at high A, 11 starts, a 3.35 ERA. And then we got Adam Kloffenstein, more of a guy that's probably just going to give you some depth in the organization. Has a lot of pitches that he works with, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and a cutter as well. Could end up being a pretty decent back end of the rotation guy for you down the road. But again, I would love this addition for the St. Louis Cardinals. And last but not least, let's do a fun one. How about Luis Robert to the Pittsburgh Pirates? At the time of this recording, they're only half a game back in the wild card race, but man, oh man, they need a bat. It has been the Paul Skeens show as of late, but this rotation has been awesome. Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, they have been fantastic, but this lineup really needs a bat. In center field offensive production, they're 29th overall, and when it comes to just overall offense, they're only 27th. They need a bat. Luis Robert would be amazing for this lineup. And hey, like I said earlier in the video, he's on a team-friendly deal, and the Pirates, money is always a thing with the Pirates. They should be able to afford a contract like Luis Robert. I'm just saying. So the trade that I have here is Luis Robert going to the Pirates, back to the White Sox. We got Termarr Johnson, Anthony Solometo, Lonnie White, and Mitch Jebb. Now, Termarr Johnson would be leading the way in terms of value, is a top 100 prospect. Hasn't fully figured it out in the minor leagues, but he was the 4th pick a couple of years ago because of his great bat. 55 hit, 55 power. Now, the plate discipline is off the charts. He's averaged over a 400 on base in the minor leagues, but again, still figuring it out with the bat, but there is a lot of potential with his bat down the road. Also got Anthony Solometo in this deal, a big lefty, had a really good year couple of years ago, has a 55 fastball, 55 slider, very deceptive with the delivery. He's hard to pick up. Like I said, last year, 24 starts, a 3.26 ERA, a good year. Off to a bit of a slow start this year, though. I'm sure he will figure it out. There is a lot to like with Anthony Solometo. And then we got a couple more prospects in here. Got a shortstop prospect in Mitch Jebb, very athletic infield prospect here, has a 60 hit tool, has a really good approach at the plate, makes a lot of contact, and then just has a lot of speed to go along with it. He could play short, he could play second, whatever it is. This would be a solid player to add. And then we got Lonnie White Jr., a very athletic outfield prospect, has a 70 run tool and a 60 field. Maybe they can get something out of him down the road, but I'm just saying this would be a very fun addition. I would love for the Pirates to add a star like this. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think the White Sox should trade Luis Robert? If he does get traded, where do you think would be the best landing spot for him? Tell me your trade proposals in the comments. I would love to see your proposals. But everyone, that's all I have for right now. If you can on the way out for me, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.